Welcome back to This Is a Commander channel, where this is a Commander channel, and today I'm going to talk about Commander Tough Rules and Cool Interactions, episode 120. Today's episode is going to be an expansion upon what was covered in the previous episode, so if you haven't watched episode 119, then please do check it out, and I've linked it down in the video's description so you can quickly check it out. But for a crash course on what it covered, it discussed how if you control a doubling season and play a Planeswalker, that they will enter with twice the number of their normal loyalty counters because the game provides them with a replacement effect with how they enter with those loyalty counters. But when you use a +N loyalty ability of theirs that adds a number of loyalty counters to them, those will not be doubled by the doubling season, and the reason for this is because the act of putting loyalty counters on them from their abilities is a payment or a cost in order to activate that ability, and since the wording of doubling season specifically states that it only doubles things when an effect causes you to put counters onto a permanent, it doesn't work. So, now to further complicate this whole thing, as well as a bonus question at the end of the video thanks to a subscriber question on last week's episode. So, on to the complication. There is a trick that you can do so that doubling season will actually increase the number of loyalty counters that your Planeswalkers get when you use their loyalty abilities. We can take a look at the comprehensive rules to see that there is a specific rule to cover this, and it is CR 614.16, which says some replacement effects apply if an effect would create one or more tokens, or if an effect would put one or more counters on a permanent. These replacement effects apply if the effect of a resolving spell or ability creates a token or puts a counter on a permanent. And they also apply if another replacement or prevention effect does so, even if the original event being modified wasn't itself an effect. I emphasized the relevant part of that CR, and I'll provide a scenario as an example of what all this means. So let's use the example from the previous episode. You control a doubling season, and then you play your Garruk Primal Hunter. He will enter with twice the number of his usual 3 loyalty counters because of the doubling season, so he's now entering with 6 loyalty counters. Now let's change it up by you playing a Vorinclex Monstrous Raider, which has the replacement effect that says, if you would put one or more counters on a permanent or player, put twice that many of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. I mentioned in last week's episode that Vorinclex would allow you to double your Garruk by getting a total of 2 loyalty counters when you use his +1 ability, because the wording on the Vorinclex not caring about the why he's getting counters, but just the who is putting the counters onto that permanent. And now we have all the pieces in place to make the doubling season work. Vorinclex's ability is a replacement effect. Keyword there is effect. And doubling season says that if an effect would put one or more counters. So when you first go to pay for Garruk's loyalty ability, then the game sees that you're going to be putting counters onto an object, and it will check if any applicable replacement effects should replace that action with anything, and the doubling season will say, nope, I don't care about paying costs, but Vorinclex will say, yes, I do care about that, and I will change this event with you now putting 2 counters onto this object instead, at which point the game will again check to see if any replacement effects should apply to anything, and now the doubling season says, oh yes, I see an effect that is putting 2 counters onto an object, so I'm going to change that event with that effect giving twice the counters now, which is 1 to 2 and 2 to 4 total loyalty counters. I think that this is such a cool little rules interaction in the game. It has cards that just don't care about an event, but then because some other card did care about the event, now the one card actually does care about the event. It's just such a wild concept you don't see in a lot of games. Some people think that that's a bad thing. It's confusing, and yes, it is. But when you know about it, it's just really cool that these kind of deep things exist. And now for the bonus question. Last week, Sky Horizon asked the question, would Comet's Stellar Pup be able to have double loyalty be put on it with doubling season? I'll leave this image up of the Comet Planeswalker for you to see for yourself. He's a good boy, and he has a whole lot of text that I'm not going to read for this bonus question, but I'll again leave it up here. Feel free to take a look at it and provide your own answers in the comments. If you aren't sure but you really want to cheat, I did provide an answer to Sky Horizon in the comments, in the reply to his comment, but just by looking at the card here, see if you can provide an answer. As I've said in previous episodes, I love to read your answers here no matter if they are right or wrong. Everyone here is here to improve their Magic rules knowledge, and it's okay to take a wrong guess, as that is whole part of learning. That's just part of the learning experience. So anyhow, that's all I've got for today's episode. As always, I hope that all of you have found this video to be entertaining at least, and I hope that a few of you have even learned something about the crazy rules in this great game of Magic. Have a good one. Ta-ta. Sorry for my voice cracking a whole lot this episode, guys. I got sick again. I always get sick on weekends. I think that's probably because it's the busiest time for my job. We get really, really busy on weekends, and I just keep getting sick. I think it's a mixture of the seasons changing and allergies and stuff. I think I'm just getting a combination of those things hitting. Also, probably might do a part 3 for this doubling season themed little mini-series thing. There's some other weird things that they don't come up as often in Magic, which is why I'm a little hesitant to do the episode. I typically try to stick with things that you're likely to see in a game of Commander, but because I've already started this little mini tiny series on doubling season, there's a couple other cards that have weird interactions, or lack thereof, with doubling season. So I'm going to give my throat a rest now. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Have a good one. Ta-ta.